Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is indeed Tuesday, and I'm delighted that you could join us. In the studio with me tonight, we have Alan Ruff, Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail, and Darren Jackson here to add his experience to a day when we'll be talking about not only Celtic and Rangers in Europe, but we'll also have a look at Steve Clarke's Scotland squad. I don't think I've started any of our programmes without a manager being under pressure, so we might as well keep the run going on the programme today. There's lots to talk about. Of course, Steve Clarke has revealed his Scotland squad, Russia, San Marino on the horizon. Let's have a look at the squad. What do you make of it all, guys? First of all, Ruffy, Lawrence Shankland, the name that's screaming out at everyone.
Yeah, I think Lawrence Shankland is probably the pick that gets everybody talking. I personally would have liked to have seen Billy Gilmour in there and thrown him in against San Marino. If Shankland's in there, I hope he gets a game against San Marino. There's no point in him being there if we can't judge, can he jump up a level from what he's playing at. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but we have two strikers in there that have been transferred for, 20 million each. And now we've got a striker that's 200,000. So let's hope he can score some goals.
Yeah. Is it a good call, or is it just desperation stakes here, Hugh MacDonald?
Yeah, I think there's an air of desperation about it because he's literally desperate to find somebody who can score goals, and he's probably saying, let's have a look at Shankland because the stats show he scored an awful lot of goals, but he scored an awful lot of goals at a certain level, and the level that he'll now be asked to go to and make a difference is a huge leap, Peter.
Yeah, Ruffy alluded to the fact that maybe Billy Gilmour was worth a shout. Do you share that view? Has he made a mistake not putting in this young man with high hopes, but who hasn't kicked a ball in earnest yet for Chelsea?
Well, I've been lucky enough to work with Billy with the 19s, and the kid's sensational. He's incredible, and could he go into that squad, he would relish it. Now, the thing is, it's probably the strongest point when you look at Armstrong now. Can't get in the squad, but I would have Billy in there, and as I say, he would do it no problem. He would relish the challenge. He go in and playing. You see him playing for Chelsea. I know what Billy's like in training. His desire every single day training was incredible.
Yeah, if anything, Hugh, it augurs well for the future with Billy Gilmour, but it's still that age-old problem for me. I'm thinking to myself, let's throw a Lawrence Shankland in. I personally thought there wasn't a catch chance in hell he was going to be anywhere near the Scotland squad, so it comes as a major surprise to me. If he was that good, then bigger clubs than Dundee United would have been nipping away at him.
I think so as well. I agree with you there. It's a surprise to me. Let's hope he proves me totally wrong. I think one of the things, if you're bringing people into the squad, I think there should be a progression into the squad. And right, we're strong in midfield, but I think there should be a line where we say, let's bring a Billy Gilmour into the squad. Let's bring a Fraser Hornby into the squad, because although they might not play or they might not start, these are the guys we're going to be looking to in the future, and to get them in early into that environment, roundabout, see how they are, see how they react, because if all things fall into place, these guys could be mainstays for the team going forward. I think it's a wee bit of sticking plaster solutions at the moment. I think we should be looking a bit longer term.
Yeah, well, if there are Shankland doubters, the manager Steve Clarke's not one of them.
Well, obviously he's a goal scorer, he's in form. I know Lawrence quite well from my time here in Scotland. I've watched him a few times. And it's not an area that we're overburdened with top strikers at the moment, so Lawrence is in form, he deserves his chance. I think the best way to to look at him and to gauge what level he's at is to bring him into the squad. So it's an opportunity to have him in the group, see how he works in the squad, and hopefully he can score a few goals for us. No, I think if you're in form and you're a goal scorer, obviously he's going to come into the group with a lot of confidence. He scores goals with his head, left foot, right foot. He's a natural finisher, and that's something that maybe we haven't had in the squad recently. So hopefully this will address that.
Well, we've all had a say on Lawrence Shanklin, and Ruffy, the statistics that back up why he's gone for him are there for all to see. 4 strikers, 29 games, 2 goals between all of them.
Yeah, but to get back to Shanklin, it is a serious jump, Darren will tell you. It is when you go to international level. When I was at Partick Thistle, we used to play Dumbarton on a Saturday and then maybe Holland in midweek, and there is a big jump, believe me, from come up with these kind of players. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at him. Is it a one-off? Is he a one-off? Can he make that jump? Can he play with better players and score goals? You know, that's what we're looking for. We've tried all the good players, so let's try somebody that we didn't think was going to get there.
Yeah, tell us about that, Ruffy. I mean, one week you would have been playing in front of maybe 2,000, and then you're lining up in the tunnel at Wembley for, what, over 100,000 with Kevin Keegan facing you down?
100,000, but that's all about temperament. As Dan's been there, played in games where you're up the level, and then you've either got the ability to raise it to be at that level or you don't, and if you don't, then you don't get playing.
Yeah. Did you have an inferiority complex, Ruffy?
No, I loved it. I thought it was great. You know, I was quite laid back. It didn't nothing. Crowds didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. Have you ever had an inferiority complex?
No.
He just is inferior. He's not complex.
Anyway, as far as the rest of the squad is concerned, of course, when you get the manager of Scotland announcing the squad, it gives the assembled members of the press to have a little go on previous misdemeanours. One of them was, of course, the story that emerged after the last match about Ryan Jack and his injury. And Steve Clarke says Stephen Gerrard was, well, correct in having a go. There was just basically a miscommunication.
No, listen, I understand Stephen's point of view, because you send a player to the international football and he comes back injured, so you're obviously going to be upset. It was unfortunate that Ryan picked up the injury and he missed a Rangers game. Thankfully he's back now, he's playing well, and he deserves his selection again. Listen, it's not so much an annoyance. It's, for me, it's with me and my staff, the player, it was probably a lack of communication. So we have to work on that. We have to be better on that in the future, and hopefully we will be.
Yeah, I think, I pick up on your point, Hugh. I think it's very pertinent on the basis that the next 3 or 4 games, we know we're not going to get the second place in this group, so we should be looking to test our resolve. I just wonder if there may be a fear factor, Darren, from Steve Clarke, that he doesn't want to blow everybody's confidence too much by making drastic changes.
No, he doesn't, and he can't make drastic changes. That's the facts. There's no players that you're going to say, I've mentioned Armstrong, but there's no players you'd say, I can't believe that he's not in, or players like that. So he's got to try and get a consistency. Like when he went to Kilmarnock, he would be able to work on things every day and get them really solid defensively. And that's what he'll be looking for with an international squad. He only gets 2 days to set them up. But if he's picking the same players, they know what he wants, so it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and we took you for granted, Darren, I have to say, in your time. I mean, you and I slaughtered Craig Brown at the time when you were in the squad and that whole Scotland side, and we never thought, Hugh, that we'd have to wait over 20 years to get to major finals.
But it's glory days. I mean, it's all about everything about fans and press is about expectations. You're always looking higher than where you are. And I was saying to Darrell before, so I mean, I can remember Scotland losing 2-1 to Brazil team with Cafu, who else would be in it? Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Sampaio, all these, and we lost. Scotland lose 2-1 to 2 dodgy goals. There were 2 daft goals.
Yeah.
And you're incandescent. Can you imagine what it would be like now? And that was in the opening day of a World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Did you feel, I mean, I'll talk about Ruffy and inferiority complex. Did you feel that? I mean, Craig loved you. I mean, that was the thing about it. Well, a lot of players who weren't getting picked thought he must love you because you kept getting picked. Did you have that sense? Did you have that feeling of, well, you played for the top club? one of the top clubs in Scotland, one of the top clubs in the world football. Everybody knows about Celtic, so you must have had that arrogance about you, that self-belief.
I don't think you had an arrogance going into a Brazil game, but what I will say is it was probably the most calm I was going on a pitch, and I couldn't tell you why. Obviously played in Old Firm games where you're nervous, but I was very calm, and I don't know if it was maybe thinking expectations, but Craig always had the belief, and he made you going out onto the pitch having the belief you're going to win here.
Yeah.
And we did have the belief that we were going to beat Brazil, and we were very unlucky. I mean, to lose a goal after 4 minutes, you think, here we go. And we did. You look at yourself and you think, oh no. But the way the boys fought back, and it was a fantastic squad to play in.
Listen, don't worry about that. Sometimes that can flip the other way as well. Sometimes you look and you say, oh, Dave Neary scored here, we're 1-up, we could win this. And then all of a sudden, just keepers make mistakes, Darren, and let the whole nation down. That type of thing can happen.
My first thought of that Brazilian game was in the Auckland walking out with the kilts on. I went, I wonder if they're all true Scotsmen.
Yeah. Anyway, just out of curiosity, give us a flavour of the players that you had in that squad that we now would long for.
Well, if you just look at the team, Leighton, Calderwood, Christian Daly, Colin Calderwood, Christian Daly, Tom Boyd, Colin Henry,
Tosh
Craig Burley. Well, Tosh was, but I'm talking about the team that played.
Yeah.
Craig Burley, myself, Paul Lambert, Johnny Collins, Gordon Jury, Kevin Gallagher.
Not a bad lineup, Hugh, is it?
And then the bench was incredible as well.
Yeah.
But I know I was very lucky, and the players I previously, Gary I only got the number 10 strip and played because Gary did cruciate early in the season.
Yeah.
And you look at the players like McAllister and McStay, all that as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. It's something you'll never ever forget. Just out of curiosity, whose strip did you get?
Junior Baiano.
Yeah. Yeah, you were hoping for Ronaldo, weren't you?
I asked him, I said, I'll see you in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so I was waiting in the tunnel and Junior Baiano came in and said, do you want to swap strips? And I didn't really want to turn around and say, big man, I'm waiting for Ronaldo.
To be perfectly honest with you, I would have said, I'm waiting for Ronaldo. Junior, on your way. Kevin Gallagher's in there already. On you go. We're going to talk 9 in a row with Richard Gough after the quiz. If you're over the age of, 40, Hugh, and you can't get that, there's something seriously wrong. You're watching the wrong programme, Hugh, because you were on it after Clue 1. Don't give it away, though.
But what a player as well, what a player. He also very pally with, and I'll give another wee clue.
Yeah.
Very pally he was with a Rangers legend.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it Willie Henderson?
It was Willie Henderson.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're a good few. I think they're a good few nights out in Glasgow. Let's not tell that story anyway. Talking of Rangers, Richard Gough's been out and about today, talking at Ibrox about the Rangers legends against the Liverpool legends. I kid you not, when you see Richard Gough right now, you'll be able to have a look at a man that looks as if he'd still be able to play right now. He was talking, of course, about their time winning title after title, with Celtic trying to win 9 in a row. In Richard Gough's era, he reckons it was tougher trying to win the 9th, never mind the 10th.
Well, it was huge for me, especially the senior players. The club around that time, myself being the captain of the club at that time, it was 36 cup finals. I always said that the 9 in a row season was much harder and a much more anxious season than going for 10 in a row. 10 in a row was, for me, was like a dream. It was no problem. 9 in a row was difficult. Especially coming down the end, when a few of us were falling. A few of us were getting injuries at the end of that season, and we stuttered over the line. We beat Celtic away from home at Parkhead, and that should have been it really. And then we stuttered in after that. Because a few of us got injuries. We were getting Andy doubled up from Manchester. Mark Haley coming in from QPR. you know, we were struggling over the line, you know, so it was a difficult season.
Interesting thoughts there from Richard Gough. Ruffy, just trying to get a record equalling 9 titles in a row, and boy did they have some players at their disposal.
Yeah, they certainly did. I was just saying to Hugh there that would be the pressure, you know, everything. We can see the hype just now with a lot of the Rangers supporters. They don't want Celtic to get 10, so you can imagine what the hype would be to equal the 9, you know, and then that once you've got it, I think the pressure would be off a wee bit, because obviously, as you've said, the players they had at their disposal, they would have thought, well, this is a given, we're going to get 10.
Yeah, and again, Darren, you were part of the team that stopped 10 in a row. They were a formidable lot in that Rangers dressing room. There wasn't any shrinking violets.
There wasn't. I can look upon the 9 in a row year, me playing against them. It's probably the best Rangers era ever. The team, the players that I played against was incredible. And people ask me, playing now, about the centre halves that you play against, and it was Gough and Butcher, Roberts, John Brown, Alan McLaren, Dave McPherson, people like that. It was incredible players. But I can only go on the 10. It might have been hard for him, but I'm just delighted that they didn't get the 10, and we enjoyed that season. Yeah,
you had your part in history. And again, the Rangers players now, Hugh, will go down in folklore if they stop Celtic winning 9 in a row.
Absolutely, and it's really it's become a thing amongst both sets of supporters. I think the big pressure on Celtic is it's not as if they're going for 9 in a row. It's as if many times amongst the sport it was a given at one time. So it was as if this is something that we're just going to wait a couple of years and it'll fall into our laps. It's not going to, no matter how the season goes from now, it's unlikely. I mean, I still think Celtic will win the league. I think they've got the better players and I think they've got the better squad. But there's certainly, Rangers are more up for it than they have been in recent years.
Yeah, just a couple of points to finish. And Hugh, you're probably best placed to give us a thought on this, because some Dons fans are planning a protest against Derek McInnes. They've signed new deals until 2022. Some fans clearly think they've had their time there. Is that, I mean, are they wide of the mark? Are they bang out of order?
Well, the fact of the matter is that the simple answer is if there might be pressure on, and it seems to be on McInnes from some fans, but there's no pressure on him from the board. Stuart Milne is absolutely fully behind him and has been for some time. You know, so I don't even see any signs of tension there at the moment.
Yeah, okay. You can give us your thoughts on that on our YouTube channel. The figures are great. Thank you to everyone for the ever-growing football family on YouTube, and of course on our Facebook Live. If you want to contact us across all our social media outlets, we'll be delighted to respond to you across Twitter and of course Facebook and YouTube as well, where you can subscribe and you'll get all the stuff on our app as well. If you download the app, you'll not only get news from right across world football, but you get the latest unique video content as well, and you can contribute by recording your own message to us. So hopefully you'll download the PLZ Soccer app. Just to finish, guys, it's amazing. We're looking at the wealth of the English clubs, the money that they're able to spend. Last night, all the visual images were about great Manchester United Arsenal matches of the past. Perhaps they were looking too far back in the past, because the current crop are not up to the usual standards. I don't think Arsenal or Manchester United will be in the top 4. Just have a look at the lineups, the money that's been spent, and the amazement from every quarter that this is a team that's been assembled with millions of pounds, but there's not a lot of quality. What about the odds there, Ruffy? I mean, the money they've spent in the summer, the money that they have in the players in the team. And I mean, there was a bit of quality from Scott McTominay. Thank God he's Scottish, even with a Lancashire accent. But I mean, I watched the game last night, and with 2 minutes to go, I think Lindelof had a pass that couldn't even find his own player, went out for the touchline. turned the television off and I thought, this is a shadow of the former glories.
Yeah, I think the prices that have been associated with players now has got ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And obviously there's a top bracket with the Messis, and then it dwindles down to 50 million seems to be the price if you're reasonable enough that people are prepared to play. But when you look at the Arsenal players, Thierry Henry, you look Bergkamp, you look at Vieira, you know, these players wouldn't have been valued at any of that money that we've just seen there. But last night I heard Roy Keane saying that Vieira wouldn't even have got in the Man United side, you know, when he played.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the best line from Roy Keane was, says, what do you think about the Arsenal midfield? He went, weak. I thought, you know, that kind of sums it up. I mean, both of them are a shadow of their former selves.
Incredible, Peter. When you look at Beckham, Scholes, Keane and Giggs, Overmars, Pires, Vieira and Petit.
Yeah.
Look at that midfield against each other, just world class.
Yeah.
And you look at last night, and I had to go and pick my daughter up from dancing at half time last night, and I was quite happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're normally desperate to see the Man United Arsenal game.
Now that's something from him, by the way, isn't it? You know, if he's not watching, he'd watch Crew Alexander against Port Vale, by the way.
So I taped it. So I'm the exact same with football. But I think the big lesson for both teams has been a lesson of succession. What do you do after a big manager goes? And you should have plans in place and stick with people. And what they've just spent money willy-nilly with no real. Is Manchester United any better than when Fergie left, or any better down, or any further down the road? I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's an argument that could continue long into the night, but that's all we've got time for. All I'll say to you now is, a lot of people ask us, do we actually hang about with each other after the programme? Well, the answer to that is Hugh and I just continue to slaughter players from yesteryear. We'll do that and question whether Jackson should have gone to France in the first place with Scotland. As far as Ruffy and Darren, well, they'll go into a room and chat to each other about how brilliant they were and how great it was to go to World Cups. That's the type of sycophantic nonsense those two get up to. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow. Barry Ferguson, who's never been to a World Cup, will be back with us. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.